We are Movie Menu Reviews. To infinity and blood and gore. With your buddy, Movie Menu. On today's episode, we'll be reviewing Child's Play and Toy Story 4. Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast, live on Facebook.
Hey, we are.
Or if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, we do appreciate it.
But we're not live on there.
But we're not live. Well, yes, we are. We're live everywhere.
Well, okay.
But also live with us today is a special guest, William O. Tyler. Thank you so much for your return. It's been too long, but we are happy to have you back.
I'm happy to be back. It has been a long time. Longer than I expected.
Me too. If you remember, William was on our last show, Upgrade, where we did a review.
Wow.
About a year ago.
Yeah, it was last June, so it's been a year.
Okay, yeah.
And who wasn't there?
I remember that. I was not there.
Was Mike Stan.
Oh, thanks.
Mentally, he was not there. Like he's never mentally here.
If that's the case, I haven't been on an episode yet.
This is why you don't get invited to Comic-Con.
That's fair.
Someone who doesn't get invited to Comic-Con as well is my co-host and senior panelist Z.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I wasn't there. I remember listening to your review and going, I need to watch that movie. And I love that movie. That was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie. Basically, a better version of Venom.
Yeah, I agree.
As William had mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Off screen. Thank you so much again for being on the show, William.
Thanks for having me. I love being here.
Yay. So we have a couple of movie news we want to cover before we get into our reviews. So the first thing let's talk about is the newest trailer that just released this week is the Peanut Butter Falcon.
Right.
What did you guys think about that trailer for the film that stars Shia LaBeouf
and Dakota Johnson and Zach Gottsagen?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
It looks interesting. Yeah, it looks like a feel-good movie.
It does. It won Best Audience Award at South by Southwest.
Yeah. It definitely. I'm actually really interested for once in a Shia LaBeouf movie. Since Holes, so that's saying something. Like whenever
it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Well,
and
like every time I see his name on anything, I'm just like, oh, I just cringe. Like I cringe, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's going to be any good. And
no, he's been doing a lot of like indie films, like Under the Radar.
Yeah, wasn't he making a movie about his father? Yeah,
and he was playing his father.
Was that ever released? I don't know if it was.
I feel like it was, and it was just Under the Radar.
Well, there you go. So I'm really interested in just seeing the depiction of somebody with Down syndrome. So it's a guy with Down syndrome who escapes. I guess it's the best way of saying it, right? It's all in the trailer. He breaks bars open or he bends them. He runs off to be a wrestler, and I think that's a very clever and fun idea.
Now, did you guys get reminiscent of the commercial for the wrestler is very similar to the kickboxing in Napoleon Dynamite? Did you guys get that feel at all?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You join me and you can be a wrestler.
Yeah.
I feel like only people who really liked Napoleon Dynamite understood.
No,
but I did not. I did not like that movie.
I only saw it once, and I can't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not as memorable.
I agree with you, Dan. It was exactly like that. It really was.
I'm glad you guys believe that's the case.
You watch it again.
Yeah, watch them side by side, and you'll understand.
Hard pass. But it looks interesting. I feel like the Peanut Butter Falcon. It's directed. This is like their first feature by Tyler Nielsen and Michael Schwartz. So it looks interesting. The fact that they've already won some awards tells you that they've clicked on something really interesting. And it looks heartfelt. I feel like that's always like whenever a first time director directs something that's heartfelt, that they're putting their because it's like they're indie directors. They really don't have to make a big movie,
right?
But this is their first film, which means it's all heart, and it looks really interesting.
I agree. I think it's going to be a film that will be talked about later on in the year.
Yeah.
And I love the inclusion of a Down syndrome actor.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think that's great.
Yeah, I forget a couple of years ago, people, there was a group of people who have Down syndrome who were coming out in the same way that, like, the same way that women's rights were coming out, and it was a lot of like, hey, listen, we're here, you can hire us, you don't need to hire other people to play these characters, we can do it. Wasn't it American Horror Story who had one?
Yeah. And she was a recurring
was,
actress. Like, she was on multiple seasons and was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm glad that they're, this is obviously Shia LaBeouf is the lead and Dakota Johnson is the lead as well, but I feel like hopefully, and by watching this movie, he becomes like the front runner.
Yeah.
And, probably Oscar nominations, because it looks like an Oscar bait movie. So it'd be really cool if that was the case.
Yeah, we'll see. It comes out in August 9th, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Something that has been released already, but is coming back to theaters. Z?
Well, and it's not really out of theaters, right? You can still technically watch it, and
that's true.
That for me is going to be kind of the confusing part for audiences is: are you going in to watch the? You don't even know what to call it, right? You can't call it the extended cut because Kevin Feige said it doesn't have extended cuts. So will fans go watch the wrong movie?
It'll be the post-credit scene.
Well, would it say like what would it indicate, right? Like,
I feel like whatever has been. Like, once that movie comes out, all of them, no matter which one it is,
I hope
it'll be replaced.
We'll have that, yeah. So
it'll be upgraded.
So for those who don't know, basically Avengers Endgame is going to get a re-release, even though it's still in theaters. And Kevin Feige
at the $2 theater now.
And Kevin Feige said this will be a version going into theaters with a few new things. If you stay and watch the movie after the credits, there will be a deleted scene, a little tribute, and a few surprises. So I don't know.
This comes in the heels of Spider-Man Far From Home being released to the press, and the reviews for that was very positive, and they even said that the second half of the film is incredible and you must stay for the post-credit scene because this is probably the most important post-credit scene you'll see in the MCU, which I'm wondering, like, that is a big setup, so I wonder if they're trying to tie them in together now that they know, because Kevin Feige came out saying that Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be the end of Phase 3.
Right.
Well,
and I'm wondering what the deleted scene's going to be. Will it be? I mean, we've heard. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but Iron Man, his final words in the movie.
Spoiler alert!
No, yeah.
Who hasn't seen Avengers by now? You guys should.
Everybody has seen it. Wasn't an "I am Iron Man," right? That wasn't his final words. It was "and fuck you." That's the final words that they initially filmed, and then they had to convince Robert Downey Jr. to come back to refilm it to do an "I Am Iron Man." So that's actually like a they had to film that. So I wonder if it's.
Is that what? Because I know they already had it. They had original something, and then the editor was like, "No, it's missing something." Like,
yeah.
Reshoot it, and so they added "I Am Iron Man."
Yeah, so that's the reshoot that they had to do, and they had to convince Robert Downey Jr. to do that because he loved and fuck you, like it's like the only F word you'll ever hear in a Marvel movie, and they were like, nah, we want to keep it clean and we want to make it a little more heartfelt. There's also a scene they cut out with his daughter aged up, right? So initially they were going to show
heard about that one.
Yeah, his daughter all grown up, but nobody understood who she was, so they cut that out of the movie. So I wonder what the latest thing they're going to have in there, and more importantly, what tribute? What do you guys think? Will it be Stan Lee? Will it be
Probably
something else?
Stan Lee. I doubt it'll be Black Widow.
Wow. Because nobody cares? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, because they didn't have a funeral for her either. But
seriously, they really forgot that she had died, right? Nobody ever mentioned it.
They mentioned it. They mentioned it.
They do. They do.
But yeah, I mean, I guess Tony Stark did save everyone, but so did Black Widow.
So did Black Widow. Like everyone forgot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think it'd be a tribute to Iron Man or to Stan Lee?
I think
those.
Stan Lee,
it seems like those are the only options, and Stan Lee would be the better.
Yeah,
better choice.
I think so. Yeah, and
Excelsior.
Yeah, and in my heart, I feel like I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I haven't seen any like big trailers for Spider-Man, but I feel like Robert Downey Jr. is going to stay on. Like there are ways in the comic book that his character stays on, and I feel like it would be smart to include him in certain ways.
I don't know. They're going to get their use of Happy Hogan out of Spider-Man movies.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so that's the news about Marvel coming back to theaters. And we should say the reason why is because money. They want more money.
That's true.
Kevin Feige he sleeps on a bed of hundreds and $1,000.
But you can't knock it for wanting more money. I mean, how many times was Avatar be released in theaters? How many times Titanic was released in theaters? They made a 3D version of Titanic, for God's sake. Just released it.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. I know.
So you can't knock Marvel for doing the same thing.
No. And people came up to me because people know that I do this, and they came up to me and they were like, "What do you think about that? Isn't that just greedy?" And I said, "No. Fuck James Cameron. Like, we want to take that Titanic down. We want the Avatar. We want the head of those guys on a spike, and we want to own, because Marvel, I think, has done something that personally, Avatar wasn't a good movie for me, and I think that Endgame is a much better winner for that.
But Avatar is getting like 4 sequels.
I don't know how. I don't understand who is financing those movies.
James Cameron.
I know.
James Cameron.
I don't know who's going to go see them. That's the question.
Well, you know who's going to go see them? China, because they loved it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, the craziness is that now that Fox is under the Disney regime, that they are making plans for the whole Star Wars plus Avatar, and they're going to dominate December for the next 5.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they're going to cross over.
No, yeah, and that too. You're going to see them in the Falcon in Pandora.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean,
they have the Pandora at Walt Disney World.
Yep.
So I would not be surprised.
I did not know that. Okay.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's a whole Pandora area at Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, yeah.
Does it have like weird sex stuff there?
I mean,
tentacles, right? Because the tentacles.
They might have like conjugal rooms you can rent.
All right.
For like an extra $1,000 or something ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
they're
still gonna make their money off of it for sure.
You got a fetish? Oh, we got it right here.
Yeah. Got a hentai fetish? Here we go.
On that note, let's move on to our review.
We're gonna sign Mike up for that.
For our next review, let's go there. So I did see this next film, so I'm gonna toss the hosting duties over to Z.
Yeah, I'm taking over. I did not see this movie. Right, so the movie we're reviewing is Child's Play. Dun, dun, 2019. It just borrowed the same title. Directed by Lars Klevberg, written by Tyler Burton Smith, and based on characters by Don Mancini, starring Audrey Plaza, Gabriel Bateman, Brian Tyree Henry, and Mark Hamill. Here's the plot. A mother gives a 13-year-old son a toy doll for his birthday, unaware of its more sinister nature. Ooh. All right, so depending on your spoiler-free review, I will decide if this movie's worth to dine in, watch it in theaters. A takeout, watch it at home, or leftovers. What would you consider leftovers?
That's good.
Being killed by a doll? I don't know.
I mean, I've seen very interesting ER photographs of toys up people's butts. So, stick.
Why would you be looking at those photos? And why have you been watching multiple?
Because the internet, man. Somebody actually.
No. You do not blame the internet on this.
That would be a very weird toy story.
This is a rabbit hole that you fell into.
I did. But there's a light bulb, and then I saw one that somebody actually stuck up a Buzz Lightyear. Because he wanted a friend in him.
Don't get mad at Z's fetish. That's his
to infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
Indeed.
He went into that black hole.
Lovely.
He did come out actually eventually. All right, so. Now whoever wins will earn a point.
That's not true.
That's not true, because Dan and Mike are completely not getting any points here.
That's true.
That's true.
But you will win a point if you win. You have to sway me whether or not this movie's worth any of these points. And at the end of the season, if you can accumulate over 10 points, you can develop your own segment. Or you could
cash him in for food.
Cash him in for food. Yes,
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, we were doing the Jamba Juice,
horchata
from King Torta, but that's it. No more than that. Yeah, so it's entirely up to you what you want to do.
Obviously, you're not gonna be able to get 10 points by the end of the season. So the points roll over.
Yeah, do.
So we invite you to come back as many times as possible in order to get 10 points to make your own segment of whatever you want movie related.
But you have to keep track because we forget this stuff.
Why am I the only one getting points? Why are you guys not getting points?
Oh, because we used to give ourselves points, and then I would win all the time. And
That's not true. That's not true.
And I'm just sick of winning.
Dan's a sore winner.
Untrue.
Well, the thing is, we have to come up with themes or segments, and I would always have to think of the damn segment. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have our guest.
Even seasons in which he didn't win,
I still thought of the segment.
he would throw an idea and go, "Great, we'll do that." Because he was like, "Oh, what during my segment, I'll do this. Great, I'll do it for my segment." So we never. Yeah, it was a constant struggle.
It became a burden.
So, anyways,
now the burden is yours.
Yay.
And you get a point, William. Hooray!
So with that being said, rate this film. As our guest, would you like to go first?
Sure, I would say. Where were the options?
So
again?
leftovers, shove a toy up your butt. Take out.
Leftovers means like don't
watch it. Just don't watch it. Take out. Watch it like at home, Netflix, Amazon, whatever you got your choices.
That's the one.
That's the one.
I would say take out.
Okay, take out. Dan
I would agree. I would say it's a takeout.
and Mike.
It was a dine-in for me.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. It was
Oh,
a dine-in
wow.
for me.
All
That's
right.
surprising.
So everybody wins except for Mike. So now, have you guys watched the original?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I saw maybe a couple months ago. You know what? The original does not really hold up as
Oh,
well
no.
as-
It absolutely does not. The graphics are horrible.
Not only that, it's just like the story of it is really kind of silly.
Well, because it's based off of the 1980s satanic scare, so of course it's hokey for that reason.
It was more funny than it was horror.
But I enjoy it because of
it's
the
still
funniness.
it's still fun.
And I love the practical effects in it. I'm also a puppeteer, so I love all that. The way Chucky looked in the original, I hate the design of Chucky in this one.
you know what? He looks like Team
sex
America World Police puppet.
He does kind of look like that. Yeah.
It's creepy as hell
What, creepy with intention or creepy with like?
with an unnecessariness. I would say.
So-
and I don't even know if that's a word or not, but I'm using that right now for this.
This is what I think happened. I think that he was designed so that he looks extra scary when lit from either above or below.
Okay,
But with that in mind, if he's not lit from either of those ways, when he's just a toy like sitting on a shelf,
Yeah.
he just looks horrible. He's like all wrinkled. He's got bags.
Oh.
He's got
Oh.
it's weird. So when he's lit properly in that context,
Look
he
at
looks
that.
creepy.
so you wouldn't buy
difference
the
between
toy.
the
No kid would ever want this toy.
Okay,
Like
okay.
it's not believable that any kid would ever go out and crave this toy.
Gotcha, Dan.
No, I agree, and I'm putting it up on my computer. Like you can see the difference between that. That looks like a child toy from the original. and
Sure.
then-
Yeah, the
and
original.
then- oh
looks
my
like-
god, what is that?
Well, and the great thing about the '80s version, it looked like an '80s toy, right? Like it had the
Yeah.
hair.
It's like
It
a
looked like,
Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah. But in this one, he doesn't look that way at all. He looks more like a plastic sex doll.
It's
with
it's really creepy.
with beady eyes and
not in the way you want Chucky to be creepy.
I mean, Chucky. I mean, I can't really see it clearly because Dan's got his laptop over there, but it looks like he needs to go to sleep. That he looks.
he's got heavy bags.
I
right?
feel tired for him. Like I'm.
No, and he's supposed to be a little kid that's a friend of
It
whatever.
looks like
he
he's
is.
been smoking
He
his
doesn't
whole
look
life.
like he doesn't look like
Burning candles at both ends.
he's not aged very well.
No.
This plastic Chucky.
Well, okay. So tell me the story. Is the story worth it? What's going on in the plot here?
So there's no.
Is it the same thing?
There's no.
It's not the
it's
same thing.
not.
No, there's no
Plot.
No, they've
spiritual
eliminated the mysticism. In
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no satanic
No.
ritual.
So the only we're fine with spoilers here, right?
No spoilers.
Okay, no spoilers.
I mean, we could talk about the beginning part, but not
Yeah,
about the ending.
give me the first act, second act, but not the third act, please.
So basically, this Chucky is all AI, and he's malfunctioned. I won't say why.
Because of Satan.
Yes.
I mean,
there was lightning. Can I say that?
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it shows it, but it has nothing to do with it.
Okay,
so.
okay. Keep going, Dan.
Yeah.
So he's malfunctioned, and it's kind of reminds me. Well, never mind. I won't say that.
It kind of reminds you of what? Just
Say
finish
it.
it.
Well, I would say a Spider-Man of the Spider-Man suit.
Okay.
If you guys know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Kill mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that happens, and then, but what I did like about the film is that it explains better why Chucky is more obsessed with Andy in this film.
Okay.
Because in the original film, he wants to swap bodies.
He does. He wants to do the ritual where
he follows him in the second film.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like when Chucky imprints on you, it's like you are the best friend.
Right.
So he like now is obsessed with Andy and like being Andy's best friend.
Got it.
So it plays more on like the AI. So it's almost it's more of like a robot movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up here.
And which I enjoyed, so like a part of the movie is that he attaches to the cloud. So
he's on Bluetooth?
So
he's on Bluetooth.
So yeah, so he's basically like the equivalent of like if Alexa was a doll, it would be Chucky.
Gotcha.
And
like Chucky does everything.
Yeah. Well, he's not.
He's not even Chucky.
Yeah. So the official name, the Buddi doll. So he's. Yeah.
But
I enjoyed like a lot of the details in this, like Buddi with the eye at the end. It's like your typical marketing right now of like the eye, whatever. I thought that was fun, and a lot of it was like plays on like things that are happening currently, and they do like video game references like later on in the film. I can't get specific because that would be kind of spoiler.
It would, yeah.
But I felt like it played on the.
They had technology like with Uber and driverless cars.
Yes.
So
was Chucky driving a car?
No.
So so they definitely modernized this film, which I appreciated.
Okay.
And I did also, I had fun with like where they took the plot.
Okay.
I enjoyed the plot points of the story.
Do you feel like they committed?
I thought they did.
Okay.
I felt like the ending. I had a lot of fun with the ending part. The ending is always like the big battle or whatever. But leading up to it, everything else, it just seemed like
convenient.
No, like unworthy or unearned in a sense.
Well, yeah, that's what I was asking about Mike. Was it not for him? It felt like it was worth it.
I thought it was like for me it was like
it felt rushed for me. Like
really,
the beginning
felt rushed.
Yeah, it felt that way for me too.
Yeah, like him already like getting the knife and everything. Like I don't know. It just seemed very. This is a horror movie. We got to get to this point.
Yes, exactly. It felt like they had ideas for the scare moments, and then they tried to branch the scare moments with these other little pieces, and the other little pieces just weren't cool.
Gotcha.
They didn't create a good flow to the movie.
Okay.
So,
do you feel like this movie would have benefited from being a 2-hour film?
No.
How long?
It did not need to be any longer.
It's an hour and a half.
I think it would have benefited from being a better written film.
Oh, okay.
Agreed.
That's fair.
And then, there's always like the trope of like a creepy neighbor or something that has no real reason to be in this film than to like push the plot forward in a different type of way. So I thought I was annoyed with that. There's always has to be the creepy person that lives next door, or the creepy maintenance guy, or the creepy something.
That's true. There was,
and he was just kind of thrown in there.
He was just thrown in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were like, especially in the beginning, it's like it was just constant justifications for getting killed. It's like well, the person, nobody cares because this person's a despicable person anyways. So it's like,
well, but that's kind of a horror trope, isn't it? Like you build a character to be really horrible so you can kill him and feel good about it.
Except they don't build the character. They just insert him in there, and then it's like, okay, let's kill him.
Also,
that's true.
I mean, this may be insensitive to me saying it, and I hope it's not. But
you're a racist.
No, but
I'm not a racist. But no, keep going.
No, exactly. Andy has a hearing aid, but they don't really utilize that aspect in this film.
I was waiting for them to do something with it. And
A Quiet Place did a really good job of
that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't. I mean, it's almost like they don't even like he doesn't even need to have a hearing aid almost because he takes it out a couple times.
Yeah,
and I feel like they only used it because there's a part where like I don't know if it's.
That sounds kind of. Is there a scene where it's not? It's like A Quiet Place, like where there's like a moment of that.
No,
there's a scene where he's not wearing it, and you would expect it to be some sort of like they make a point of pointing out all the time that he has a hearing aid.
Yeah.
And so in that case, like if you're going to show it, do something with it.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
If you're not going to do anything with it, then it's fine for him to have a hearing aid, but you don't have to focus on it so much. Like you can't.
The closest thing they did to it was they had Chucky speaking to him do it.
Oh.
But even still, it wasn't.
But that was only like that was really
wasn't
slight.
utilized.
Yeah. So it's like it's. Yeah, so it was probably a plot point that got deleted, right? Like that's what it sounds like.
Probably. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I did like Aubrey Plaza in the film.
Well, before we get there, because we're talking about Chucky, I want to talk about Mark Hamill. He is the voice.
I felt like they held him back. He's not creepy at all, really.
No.
Well, it's almost like because as we talked about, it's more about the AI than Chucky being like a character.
Right.
So it's almost like Mark Hamill was playing an AI voice, which is just like straightforward, like not really giving much. And I think it worked for this character, but this character is just not fun to begin with. So it kind of is.
Yeah, after you have the original Chucky to compare with this one, the cool upgrades was fun, but they didn't have any of the character involved.
It's definitely not the same Chucky.
It's not
as
the same
original.
Chucky.
It's not the same tone, not the same like I think Chucky is like in the same vein as like almost like Freddy Krueger, where it's like it's like horror, but you have like the villain has like a lot of one-liners and a lot of like there's so with this Chucky it's not like that at all. It's not even like it's its own thing.
That's too bad because the part that I remember as a kid, and I remember being traumatized by Chucky, was how much the character of Chucky and the serial killer enjoyed killing people, and you hear his laughter, and I can still hear his laughter in my head many years after. Does it feel that way? Do you have like at least like did you walk away going like, oh, that was at least like something scary to think about?
It's something different, but I enjoyed it. I know these guys didn't enjoy it.
We'll get to why you liked it.
Sure.
No, I mean, don't say that. Don't. As a takeout, we did enjoy it. It's just not as good as it could have been.
I get it.
You can watch it at home.
It could have been better. So you said that the acting. Tell me about the acting.
Well, no, let's go back to real quick.
Okay.
So, and this is very early on in the film. This Chucky is already an old model. So they're coming out with a new Chucky, or a new Buddi, I should say. Those things look super interesting, especially there's one doll. I'm not going to say what
I already know what you're thinking. Yes. I totally agree. As soon as they showed that doll, so I was like, let's watch their movie.
Let's watch their,
So Bride of Chucky is what you're trying to say?
No.
It's something completely new to the Chucky
idea.
All right, do you think that was pretty interesting, like to watch? Like I would have been interested to watch like that Chucky or...
which
the new ones, the
new models of Chucky.
You get I guess it depends on the exact model you're talking about, but I feel like it's already executed.
Come on, you know the one that I'm talking about.
It's the one that stands out.
The one that stands out of all of them.
Yeah, so that's okay. All
right, I'm gonna move away from this. Spoilers. Dan just took it there, and I don't want to go there. So tell me about the acting. You were talking about Aubrey Plaza. We have Gabriel Bateman. This movie focuses on a child actor. We know that can be a hit or miss, more misses than hits. How were the act? And we have Brian Tyree Henry, who I absolutely love. He's been getting a lot of movies lately. He was just recently in Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse. So how were the actors in this?
The acting was good. I mean, they did what they were given to do.
Yeah.
It's just what they were given to do wasn't that interesting to me.
Okay.
But they pulled off, like Aubrey Plaza is Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza is
so
Aubrey
she
Plaza,
she plays herself. She plays sarcastic.
She's very, I mean, she's a young single mom struggling to get things done, but she pulls it off. Like it's a very different take on the mom-son relationship than we're used to seeing because she's so young and she's so sarcastic. But it fits for this family. So that's not a problem.
Yeah. Did you guys have any comments?
And I actually like Aubrey Plaza. I thought she did a good job as well. And the kid was good, and I liked his chemistry with the detective, Michael Henry sorry.
Mike Norris. Yeah.
They were great together.
Okay.
I just wished that the story is when the kid, he's new to the neighborhood and now he's trying to make friends, and that whole storyline was kind of awkward and weird to watch as well. But I mean, it was fine.
Okay. Mike.
Yes.
You really love this movie.
I mean, I enjoyed it. It
is Mike's top choice of 2019.
What is my number one? My question is, what is wrong with you?
It's my number one movie of the past 10 years. No.
Okay, what was the thing that made this movie not a takeout for you?
So one of the things that I enjoyed was just like the audience experience was super fun as well. But that's not the only thing.
Oh, man.
Okay.
But I saw it in a packed crowd where like everything like everything in the movie hit. Like all the jokes in the film like reacted with the audience, and it's like I was enjoying something. I was enjoying this film with the audience, and it was a super fun theater experience for me. But aside from that, I just it was like a combination of movies. It was like there was a little bit of Toy Story, there was a little bit of like Ex Machina.
Okay,
there was a little bit of like. I mean, these. I would say this is definitely a lesser version of those that it ripped off at, but it was enough to for me to enjoy that. But this is definitely not like something to be added to the Child's Play series. It's almost like its own self-contained thing. Okay. I can't even imagine this like. I mean, I guess there can be, but I did appreciate that it felt very self-contained.
Yeah.
Like if it ended there, it's okay. They didn't push for it to go further, you know.
Got it.
So, but there is going to be a sequel, apparently.
And I think they're going to have problems figuring out how to continue what happened in this movie into a sequel because it is so self-contained.
Yeah.
Well, they just do what they did with the original. Second one, he's up for adoption.
There you go. Okay.
We have a comment?
Yeah, go for it.
So my friend Nabor says, hi, un fuerte abrazo. Hey, Nabor. A big hug back. Thank you. And Rigo is trying to spoil the film as well. As always.
He what now?
He was trying to spoil the film. Rigo stopped spoiling the film.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Z.
No, I'm just saying, like, don't be a jerk, Rigo. Come on.
And so, like, I enjoyed that. Like, this is almost like, so as Dan had mentioned earlier, the Chucky is just so obsessed with Andy. that's yeah. Okay. So he's so obsessed with.
Was this movie like Rita?
Rita.
It's the one with the lady who.
Oh, Greta.
Greta.
Okay.
Oh, that movie sucks so badly. I forgot the name of it.
I never even saw it.
Oh, it's horrible.
I saw the trailer for it, but I never went to see it.
Atrocious.
It is kind of like Greta. Yeah. Maybe I like creepy obsession movies. I don't know.
Because you're a creepy obsessed person.
I wonder why.
Maybe.
Actually, no, creeps obsess over you. All right. I don't know. Do you guys have any other inputs as to why I shouldn't go watch the movie in theater?
Oh, it was my theater experience was an interesting one because I went to a theater that was basically empty.
Oh, fun.
And I sat in the middle seat in the theater, like in the middle. And, of course, I see this family and this kid who is no older than 5 years old.
Oh.
With a Chucky doll.
No.
And he's like, I'm going to see Chucky. And this movie, I will say, I was happy that it was a rated R film.
Yeah.
Because they didn't shy away from the gore and the blood and all that stuff.
There's lots of gore.
There's a lot of gore and a lot of blood, which was nice because I felt like this would have been a leftovers if it was a PG-13 film.
Right.
But the whole time, I had to get up from my seat and then just walk away because the whole time the kid was very scared in this film.
Yeah. Why? Okay. I'm not gonna say you should have done this or should have done that. But
whatever. Bring your kid to the movie. That's fine. But like,
I say get a free ticket and just kind of like narc them out. Man. They shouldn't be in there.
I was like, oh man. I can't judge because I was sticking to films when I was a little kid. And
not like that.
I turned out okay.
Not like that.
This was definitely like one of those like old. It did have that feel though that like late 80s, early 90s feel where like it feels like a kid's movie, but it has like crazy like rated R gore.
First I thought the family walked in and like, this is not Toy Story, guys. Toy Story is next door. And then I saw the Chucky doll. I'm like, oh nope, they are here to see this film.
Yeah.
This should be interesting.
See, my experience of watching Chucky was not in the theater. I was watching it at home on a stolen HBO cable outlet. Like
the good old days.
The good old days when we had cables connecting to things, like, and then watching it on repeat because HBO didn't have much movies back then. But at least you watched in the privacy and being scared by yourself, not taking somebody to theater. That sounds cruel and unusual.
That sounds like something that could happen in the theater. Another reason to watch it at home.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't have a good experience, as good of an experience watching in a theater as Mike. I went on opening night and it was packed, but everyone in my theater was bored.
Really? Oh, yeah. That's the worst when you're in a theater and everyone's
sitting
around.
We didn't get all the good reactions or anything like that. I mean, the most memorable reaction was the very first time that Chucky talks. Me and the person sitting next to me just started cracking up laughing because of the.
It's funny.
The way his mouth moves is just like, this is so cheesy.
Okay. All right. Any final thoughts, Mike? Save yourself.
All of Dan's and William's points they're valid.
Okay.
But it was a fun movie for me.
Okay. Have you watched Black Mirror yet?
The new season?
The new season, yeah.
I haven't seen the newest
There's
season.
an episode called Rachel, Jack, and Ashley, and Ashley 2, and it sounds like you'll like that episode because you'll see comparatively what a good AI
I'm not saying
show should look like.
I'm not saying this is like a good AI movie. I'm just saying it was a fun AI movie.
Sometimes you just enjoy stuff to enjoy.
It's a popcorn movie. It's not gonna like... Yeah.
I didn't even get popcorn until
I did
get popcorn for everything.
It was a great theater experience. I had popcorn. Everybody around me was laughing at all the jokes. Everyone was like gasping at everything. Like,
was it just you in the theater?
It was just me and like 100 imaginary friends. It was me.
Chucky dolls.
Yeah, it was me and every other seat was filled with just Chucky dolls. Like, all the different models.
See, that sounds scary.
And they were all like laughing in unison, like ha ha.
I think that joke is better written than the movie. Personally,
I wouldn't disagree. The dialogue, like it is pretty bad at points, especially in the beginning. But for me, it didn't feel like it rushed. For me, it felt like a slower build, and then like towards like the third act, it just went super fast. But I felt like it was enough to understand the connection. And I know that sounds like. I know it's a weird thing to say, but there is like a bizarre connection between Andy and Chucky.
There is, and that's what the film really tries to draw in the beginning. Is that weird connection between them. Yeah, but by the end of the film, they just they go batshit crazy. And I will say the ending is fun. I did like the ending.
It's like Cable Guy. But if Jim Carrey was a doll.
That's not a good comment, though.
No. Well, I don't know. It depends on how you feel about Cable Guy.
That's exactly what I mean.
If you enjoyed Cable Guy.
But Mike, sorry, Dan, final thoughts.
That's it. Sorry. Go ahead.
This movie, it was okay. Not worth watching in theaters. You could wait to watch it at home. Watch it for Halloween season and compare with the original. Do a double feature with the original and this one. And see which one you like more.
All right. William?
My final thoughts, my favorite thing about this Child's Play actually is that they decided to release it on the same weekend as Toy Story 4, and the marketing
was really clever.
Was amazing.
Like
all the posters of Chucky destroying the Toy Story characters. Those posters are better than the movie.
Wow.
Those posters are awesome.
They clearly got the Deadpool people. Right, like they got them. They were like, "How do we do this marketing?" All right, well, I'm gonna go with Takeout. This movie was not worth the watch in theaters. So William and Dan. Oh, Dan doesn't get the point. William, you get the point.
Can I get 2 points? Can I get his point?
Yeah, I'll give you my point.
Sure, absolutely. You do not get Mike's point because Mike does not win a point.
Yeah, that's okay. I will give you a point.
You get Mike's point anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
3 points. All right,
3 points.
Yeah, that's
all right.
I approve.
You're almost there.
And with that, I toss the hosting duties back to Dan. So feel free to take them.
Sure. I killed Mike. Okay, on that note, let's go ahead and move on to the next review. That hopefully was better writing, right? Movie menu. So the next film we're reviewing is Toy Story 4, directed by Josh Cooley, original story by John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, Josh Cooley, Valerie Lapointe, Rashida Jones, Will McCormick, Martin Hines, Stephanie Folsom. Screenplay by Andrew Stanton and Stephanie Folsom. Here's the plot. When a new toy called Forky joins Woody and the gang, a road trip alongside old and new friends reveals how big the world can be for a toy. Mm-hmm. Starring Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts, Tony Hale, Keegan-Michael Key, Marilyn McGraw, Christina Hendricks, Jordan Peele, and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
And a lot of other actors as well.
Oh, a ton
of actors.
There were lots of characters in this movie.
There was. So we have all seen this film, correct?
I have.
Yep.
Yes.
So I will be the deciding factor. This movie is worth a dine and watch it in theaters, take out, wait and watch it at home, or leftovers. Be seen by an adult and be forced to be thrown out because you are a toy.
So not toy out the butt?
Not toy up the butt.
Okay, just a second.
That is your fetish.
That's not my
not mine.
Just funny pictures.
So, on that note, let's go ahead and rate this film. Z, you go first.
Thank you. So I did actually pay the extra amount to watch this at the El Capitan because I felt like this movie deserved at least like a big screen. And boy, was I wrong about that decision because there was nothing but babies in the room. So it was very similar to Mike's experience with Chucky. But except these were real babies.
That was my experience.
Oh, okay. No, well... And so it was pretty horrifying to have as much children in there, but I have to say this movie still surpassed my expectations. I still love this movie. I think this movie is different and probably would be I would say this is more of an epilogue to this Toy Story trilogy, and because of that, I say it's a dine-in. It's totally fun to watch. Yeah, it's great.
William.
I'm going to go with dine-in as well for a very specific reason. I don't think this was the perfect movie, but I think that Pixar's animation should definitely be seen on the big screen.
Oh, yeah.
And especially compared to like how far Pixar has come from Toy Story 1 to Toy Story 4. Like there's such a huge arc in their work, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Mike?
So when I went to see this, so I took my mom to see this, and my AMC A-list didn't work.
Oh no!
And I paid full price. I paid for the 2 tickets, and it's totally worth paying full price.
Yeah.
So it's totally a dine-in. Yeah, it was totally worth it.
Did you watch it in 3D?
I didn't watch it in 3D.
Which I wish I did. I might actually go back and watch it in 3D.
So I'm not a big 3D fan, so I didn't watch it in 3D either.
I know the rule for animation, though. The animation you want to watch in 3D. So, Dan, you watched it in 3D?
It was a dine-in
there it
in
is.
3D.
There it is.
It was great. Now Rigo here is saying Toy Story 4 is a takeout because it was completely unnecessary. Well, you are wrong, sir, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Well, because Rigo is totally unnecessary.
He was always wrong. But this had a great arc, and a lot of us were like, yes, Toy Story 4 is unnecessary.
Yes.
They had a brilliant trilogy with the first 3, and why are they going to ruin it with the 4th one? Risk it. And you know what? It paid off.
Yeah. Well, and I'll add to this. I'm not the first person to say this, but this is the first Toy Story that tells the story of the toys and not the experience of having toys as a child. So in Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, you have Andy, and you proceed with Bonnie at the very end, right? That's where the story ends. And what you get is, a great narrative about how when you grow up, you need to start letting go of the things that you are used to, the toys. This movie actually serves, like I said, as an epilogue because it actually tells a story of the toys. And really, if you think about it, right, this movie actually focuses more on the Woody character, the Forky character, and it's much more of like a metaphor over what is an actual toy. Right? What brings life to toys. And I think because of that, that's the part for me where I was like, this movie is going over all these babies' peach fuzz heads. Like, they're not getting any of that because this movie is like a really good existential discussion about, well, what is life and how does life come to these objects? And I thought because of that, that was brilliant. I thought that was like a really interesting way of telling a completely different story than the original trilogy. And this one just serves as this kind of like amplification of like, hey, the characters you've been following all along, they're real. They've got like, energy, and they can actually be real people. I'm not even sure if this is the first movie we saw where the toys were heard by the adults or by the people, right? Like you get a moment where Buzz goes like over there, like that thing happens, and and somebody actually hears it, and I'm not really sure whether or not we've seen that in 1, 2, or 3.
I don't think with voice. No, I think there are moments where the humans.
Right, when they attack Sid, but like this is the only one where you see that, and it's entirely different. And I thought because of that, it was a really curious middle ground to, and I know people are going to hate me for this, but to Cars, because Cars, a lot of us, when anyone who subscribes to the Pixar cinematic universe theory, like this kind of like was a good like sort of middle ground for that. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really interesting, and I think that this movie's lost on children, and I think adults who have watched Toy Story all along benefit from watching this as a sort of like a goodbye to those characters.
Well, it's also like a great thing of like relationship but loss as well.
Yeah.
And like as we're younger watching it when it first came out, a lot of people have lost people along the way.
Yeah.
And it's a great message of like letting go. And without giving too much away, I just thought it was really beautiful and really well done. And I really liked the fact that Bo Peep was in this film.
Totally. We lost her right in the second movie.
In the third one,
she was in the third one.
They mention her, but she didn't appear in the third movie.
Yeah.
Actually, she appears in a flashback in the third movie. But Bo Peep has always been my favorite character of the Toy Story movies, because she's always been kind of the heart of the group.
Yeah.
She's like an empath. Everyone comes back to her to re-energize, and she kind of helps everyone that way. And so for her not to be in the third one, I was like devastated. I was like, I want to know what happened to Bo Peep. So that was the driving factor for me seeing this movie.
Yeah.
Toy Story 1 through 3 was such a complete package that was all wrapped up.
Yeah.
That I was like, I don't need another Toy Story, but bringing Bo Peep back is what got me back.
Okay.
And the way that they handle her in this movie solidifies her definitely as my favorite Toy Story character, because she's so since she's been away from the gang and away from Andy and hasn't experienced Bonnie, she's been on her own journey that's been more kind of counterculture. Mm-hmm. She's outside of there's this idea, this running theme in the movie of what it means to be a toy and what your job is as a toy and how you relate to children. And she's like, I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
I'm fine right here doing what I'm doing. You guys can have what your idea of society is, and that's good for you and good, whatever works for you.
Yeah, you might need somebody else,
but I don't need that. And I'm cool doing the things, not waiting for someone else and just doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite message of the movie.
Well, and that's the central theme. I feel like till the end, and even at that, with some of the characters who you don't expect to see character arcs, you do see that character arc of being needed. And like there are some toys who need that feeling of being needed and wanted by humans, but you don't really need it. And it's so hard not to spoil this movie. But but it is essentially, as you were saying, like a movie about knowing who you are and choosing your own path without being told that this is the way things are done.
It's also an interesting like dynamic with 3, because in 3 we meet Lotso, who is a lost toy as well.
Yeah.
And then we see the difference between being a lost toy within a daycare system and then lost toy in the grand scheme of the world.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice counterbalance, because when they talked about the storyline, I was like, wait a minute, they already covered the lost toy story.
Yeah.
So what can they do with this one? And then they flip it on its head, and you see like the bigger grasp of the world with toys and their existence and what it means to be a toy out there. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, and I thought the introduction of Forky was brilliant. Like when I remember watching the first trailer, right, where they're like holding hands and they're like, I was like, what are we gonna watch? Like what new thing?
This?
And Forky was like this weird character you saw in there. You're like, but this movie does a really good job of kind of like telling the story of a utensil who becomes a toy, and it's really fun. Even at that, like I thought that the brilliant description, and I don't want to spoil it, but the brilliant description of why toys need others, or why humans need toys, was really brilliantly done in a metaphor of trash. And I thought that was just hilarious. I was cackling in the movie theater, and again, babies, adult, laughing hysterically at this description, and I was like, oh, I'm the weirdo. Okay, guys.
No, yeah, you usually are. No, that's not the only new character we're introduced.
We're
introduced to Gabby. Gabby
was brilliant.
The puppets,
yeah.
The dummies.
The dummies,
yeah.
Also, Duke
Kaboom.
Yeah, Kaboom.
Yes, we can.
As well as Rabbit and...
Yes. Rabbit and Bunny.
And Bunny.
Yes.
The Key and Peele characters.
Bunny and Ducky.
Ducky, who by the way stole this movie. I feel like they single-handed.
Jordan Peele and
I feel like all the supporting characters really kind of took this movie. It was a less central core movie, right? Again, this is part 4, so I feel like it's more of an epilogue because it's expanding the world out. But it really focused less on the old characters. I'm glad we still got to see Buzz Lightyear, and he played a huge role in it. Woody obviously is a huge character in this movie. You also have Jesse, who also plays a really supporting cast there, but it really focuses on these other characters, and those other characters are ridiculous and hilarious. And Jordan Peele, Jordan Peele, director of Get Out and Us, goes back to acting and does a Ducky voice a bunny voice. That's ridiculous. And him and Jordan Peele and Michael Key do a brilliant job of being these ridiculous characters.
Like almost the Key and Peele show within the Toy Story universe.
Well, they did that, right? That was one of the commercials. It was like, look at these guys.
They did do that. That was funny.
That was good. Yeah, so it was great. It was relying on other support, other actors to carry this movie. Because you have a couple of actors who've passed away. I forget the Mr. Potato Head. Don Rickles passed away. What was the other one?
Ernest.
Vern.
Ernest goes to this. Ernest. He was a Slinky.
Yeah. So we have characters who passed away, and I thought it was brilliant was what the way that they had them voice the actors was they scoured a bunch of footage of theirs to kind of create their voices digitally. So you have their voices in the movie, but they're actually compositions of different movies that they've been in. So the fact that it had a supporting cast and everybody there was really cool. That was fun. I love this movie. This movie, especially Gabby Gabby. I loved Gabby Gabby in this movie.
It was great.
Yeah, because her arc was really...
I totally
She's like
agree.
a mob boss
to
begin with, and her dummies being her henchmen.
Which
they were really creepy. I
loved how they animated the dummies and Woody. They still kept Woody how he runs. He runs like he's Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
And same thing with the dummies when they're running and looking for them. You can see that in the trailer. They look creepy as hell. They should have made Chucky like that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sister, because I took my whole family to watch, my sister and my mom and dad, and my sister just goes, oh shit, I thought that was Annabelle. She really freaked out by it.
Nope, that's next week.
That's next week. But yeah, so the supporting she was fucking brilliant. I loved Gabby Gabby.
Yeah, the story arc for her is fantastic.
Because it felt, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it felt a little bit like Black Panther's Killmonger, where you understood the villain, you understood her role in this whole story, and you really empathize with her. Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. I think that's something that's superior to, say, Toy Story 3, where you really just absolutely hated, and you didn't really want to understand the baddie in that one. But this one does a really good job of kind of empathizing, and it's such a great depiction of, again, what happens if you're not loved.
Yeah, it's a great message, and yeah, just that her whole subplot is an amazing message for everybody.
I got a question.
Sure.
Did you guys tear up in this film? Be honest.
No. This is the first Toy Story that did not make me cry.
Agreed. Yeah.
Really?
And that's why I like that you call it an epilogue, because it feels different than the other three. I kind of feel like
you all cried out from the original.
No, well the other three movies are, like I said already, so well self-contained. They each lead into the next. Mm-hmm. I don't think Toy Story 3 would not have been as powerful without Toy Story 2, which would not have been as powerful without the first Toy Story. But this one stands on its own. It's kind of outside of what that is, like you said, like an epilogue. It's sort of something to just kind of go back and look at. I don't actually think Toy Story 4 is as necessary as the other three. I still almost feel like it wasn't needed, but it's a nice addition.
Yeah.
But I liked it mainly for Woody's arc, and I think
I
really enjoyed. That's who we really follow. We follow Forky as well, but I really loved how they told Woody's story in this film.
Yeah, this was definitely Woody's story, and very early on in the movie, we followed Woody's character from 1 to 3, and this one, obviously, it has to reset up the whole premise of who Woody is. but you get to see it in the first few moments, right? Good screenwriting shows you the character's heart within the first few moments that he's introduced on screen, and you get to see that. You see that he is a toy who's out of place, and he needs something else to fill that void that he needs. And I thought that was like, okay, the very beginning of the movie, and like I didn't predict the ending to this movie, but I thought that if you rewatch this movie, you'll see that this is just really good screenwriting. Like they really did a good job of showing where this character is going in the next journey. And I thought that the way that they introduced like the central arc of like this huge issue with the Gabby character, and it was just really well done, because when you get to the end, unlike Chucky, it does feel earned. Like you feel like you went through the journey with him, and you feel like you needed to see this, and you're happy that you've seen this ending, because, and at least personally, I wish there was no more. I'm hoping that they're done with them, that this was the final movie that they'll ever do, because I don't want perfection ruined.
I think we have.
They'll be milking it if they. You think so? I think they'll be milking it if they do another one. Yeah. But going off of what you were saying about Woody's arc, something that I thought was brilliantly done was the way that they are mirroring what's actually happening in the real world right now with feminism and like the Me Too movement and all of that.
Yes, totally.
Because Woody is the main character, but he feels out of place, and every character who's actually important, Woody does not feel important. Yeah. Every character who's actually important in the movie, aside from Woody and Forky, are women.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good point.
You have
that's a really good point.
You have Bo Peep. You have the character that's becoming the new sheriff. You have Bonnie is the child. You have Dolly, who is the leader of the toys, where Woody used to be the leader of that group. Mm-hmm. And then you have Gabby, who is also an important character to move the story forward. And every single character is.
No, that's important. That's a brilliant.
So it's kind of interesting how it follows Woody trying to find his place in this world that's recognizing people other than him.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And even at that, like the depiction of the humans,
the sheep,
and
Giggle McDipples.
For me, the idea of the humans was really interesting. You had three different depictions of little girls, and they were all different. And and I thought, you're absolutely right. The primary focus of this movie was the women in this movie.
And I loved it. It was
great.
Such a feminist movie. I loved it.
No, I think this movie was overall, like even just in the description of like what the metaphor is, this movie is a feminist movie. It's about recognizing your own independence and standing up for what you believe in, and not having to rely on anybody else, like a human or a man, to do the job for you. So I think this movie has great potential for a great research paper, because it really, and like all the Toy Story movies are great research material, because they just tell you really what's going on. But one of my final points is, as you were saying earlier, the CGI is brilliant in this movie. Dan, I'm sure you saw it differently because you watched it 3D.
It was beautiful,
but it's like the colors are bright. Just the looking at like the texture of the dolls were like realistic.
We're seeing like Bo Peep, like the shine off her, like when the light would hit her, and you see the little
porcelain.
It was porcelain. It was great.
It was so good. Yeah. So I thought that the CGI in this one was brilliantly done, and you know what? If anything, this movie, I think you mentioned it earlier, is just simply like a not a resume, but what's the? It's like when a football player gets to the end of the yard and just spikes the ball.
Touchdown.
Thank you. I don't know sports. It is essentially a touchdown,
or in baseball, a home run.
Thank you. It's a home run.
Or in soccer, a goal.
There you go. Yes, it is.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know any of this stuff, but it's essentially that, because the designers clearly knew what they were doing, and it looks beautiful. And if anything, that's the reason why you should go watch this movie in theaters.
Yeah, and especially the facial expressions as well. Not to mention that, like how much was told in the facial expressions, like especially between Woody and Bo Peep. Like there's just so much said in the facial expressions and how they animated the dolls to look at each other. It's like I know like all the adults there are like, yeah, we understand, you know. Yeah. And then the kids are like, oh, it looks awesome.
Yeah. Or in my case, crying.
Oh yeah,
they were all crying. It was horrible.
I teared up in this film. Mike, you didn't answer the question.
I got close. I got close. Right, I had moments where it's like, yeah, fight it.
Dude, don't fight it, Mike.
Don't fight it.
Never fight it.
Hey, I went to go watch it in the theater with my sister, and my sister was like, "I'm gonna cry," and I was like, and she's like, I wanted to watch it alone first before I watch it with you guys because I want to cry alone. And I was like, or just cry in front of us. It's totally fine.
Right.
You know, the Toy Stories represented so much of our lives because they've, you know, like same thing like the MCU. They spend our whole lives, and if they make you feel sentimental, that's a sign of a great movie. I felt sentiment in a different way for this movie because I didn't cry, but I still really felt an emotional connection. So yeah, if you cry, Mike, it's okay. It's okay to cry. Yeah.
Toy Story 4, it's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry, yeah.
That's what it says on the poster.
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a couple comments.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Some of them I can't say out loud because
they're spoilers.
Okay. But Letikayla says, I cried so much. She said, big ups to Keanu. Vincent has been telling everyone, her son Vincent has been telling everyone, I am trash.
Yeah, it's a great...
Forky was kind of nihilistic in a way, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, no, entirely. I actually wore a shirt, I wish I brought it today, that was, I'm having an existential crisis, and it's the fork. And I wish I brought it with me, because it's literally was brilliant. I thought, yeah, that was awesome.
Now, Lithia brings up a very interesting comment. I wonder if the story was going in this direction when Lasseter started harassing Jones. #MeToo.
Yeah. No, I think. Well, interestingly enough, I read an article that said that this movie was being written before Toy Story 3 was even made.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really early on.
But so there was, but you know, that's not saying much, right? That's just saying like somebody started.
Yeah, Toy Story 3 came out in 2010. That's 9 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, totally.
I mean, they're always looking for the next sequel. So, but yeah, I have a feeling. I mean, John Lasseter's name is still associated with the movie.
Yeah.
As a writer or as a story guy. So I feel like he definitely had a hand in it to begin with, and then as all of this was unfolding, they probably pulled him back off of it. But I wonder if when that happened, they decided, let's just up all the women in this movie. Let's make them even more badass.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, potentially. And I think because of that, this movie serves a different perspective. You know, like I said, I think this movie, well, like you were saying too, like this movie does kind of give a voice to a different character, a different lead. I think Bo Peep being like that central lead of not just being like the damsel in distress, which we can all quickly associate.
Which is amazing because you know there's those stupid trolls online that were upset because Bo Peep was wearing pants and not wearing a dress in this one.
Yes, well,
it's like, you know what, fuck you guys.
Yeah, they're sexist. Well, that's why they talk about that with things like that.
What's interesting with Bo Peep is that she's actually more fragile than the other toys too, because she's actually porcelain.
Yeah.
She's not like a rag doll or plastic.
She has a broken arm.
She has a broken arm, and but she still in this movie holds her own and probably could outfight anyone else.
I'm so glad they didn't. Like, I was afraid. I was really, really afraid that they were gonna set up Gabby to be the fake villain, and the real villain was gonna be Bo Peep. And I was like, don't.
That's what I expected from the trailer, and I would have been fine with that if they had also made her sympathetic, if we also understood why she was doing whatever it was she was doing, then I'd be okay with that. I'm also a big fan of Disney villains, so if to have Bo Peep, next to Maleficent would have been fine with me.
Across from Ursula. Rigo, stop spoiling the movie.
Is he in the?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I do want to see.
I will ban him from the chat.
I am looking forward to seeing just sporks in the toy aisle.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of sporks.
Coming soon this Christmas.
Actually, I kind of wanted a Kaboom. I wanted a Kaboom toy.
Do Kaboom?
But there was no Funko versions of that, which I was really bummed out about because there's Funko.
I'm sure there will be.
Oh, I'm sure he was brilliant in this.
It's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I'm sure.
No, Oh, damn it. Okay.
But this is like Keanu's year.
Keanu's been doing really good this year.
Yeah.
Well, yes, he is now on the internet being seen as God. So yes, it is his year. But he's I think Keanu is both. He plays a sort of like a really interesting, like in just general in our culture, he plays a Nicolas Cage of our generation, where he can be really good or really bad.
But this is something I actually just had a entire episode about on my show.
Did you really?
We did a Keanu Reeves episode just all about him, and I talked about how he and Nicolas Cage walk the same line.
Yeah.
And something about Keanu makes him...
He's just more likable.
Yeah, Keanu's charm comes off a lot more than Nicolas Cage's.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, if he's cast in the right movie...
It's like Mike.
No, if Nicolas Cage is cast in the right movie, which he often is not, then he's great. But it has to be like a very, very extreme movie to match Nick Cage's acting style.
Mandy.
Or Mud. Yeah, exactly.
But Keanu has been cast in a lot of things where... Because Keanu is a little more of a guy who downplays.
Subdued.
Yeah.
He's subdued.
Yeah.
And a lot of times Keanu's downplayness, or whatever the word is, helps to ground a movie if it's a little too extreme. So they're kind of similar, but they also ride these separate lines. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because it was the same thought that I was having.
That's fun, yeah. But yeah, I think Keanu, especially in this movie, I think he overplayed it.
Well, do you think that?
But it was a well done.
Do you think Keanu Reeves did the voice animation because Nick Cage did a voice for Into the Spider-Verse last year?
I don't.
So you have to be like, you know what? I want to top. Nick
I don't
Cage.
think they're correlated, but I think that they're very similar. If you listen to both,
you don't think
they're similar.
They compete with each other?
No,
I don't think they compete with each other.
I think Keanu's
They
too chill to
might.
care about that.
Watch right now. Keanu Reeves is like, damn Cage.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts of the film Toy Story 4. Mike, you go.
Go see it. For sure. It sounds like it's going to be super amazing in 3D.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it again in 3D.
Yeah.
Damn, I feel like I set it up for... you might be
failure.
down. I'm just kidding. William? Final thoughts?
I hope this is the last one. I don't think we need another one. I think it'll really be
Two
milking
more.
it. I think it'll really be milking it, but I would recommend this movie, especially for Bo Peep's arc. That was my favorite part of it.
Yeah.
Z?
I said it in the review, and I feel like this movie is an epilogue, and because of that, it's totally worth the watch. It is not a necessary movie from the 1, 2, and 3, but it does. You do have a satisfaction watching this and saying this is the continuation of our characters, and I'm hoping, as you were saying, the end of our characters, because I don't want to see a part 5. I don't want perfection to be ruined. Part 1, 2, and 3 was the best trilogy in the history of trilogies. I would argue that it was the best trilogy, right? Star Wars has nothing on this. The Toy Story trilogy was the best trilogy. Every movie thereafter, right? 2 was better than 1, 3 was better than 2, and 4, sadly, is not better than 3.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it's not an interesting story. So,
Well, a lot of people don't think it is because it made a lot of money, but it didn't make anywhere close to what they were expecting it to make.
And that's fair.
I think people were done. I think and it's I think a part of the reason why I didn't cry in Toy Story 4 is because Pixar usually has that moment that they really, really push for the tears. And in this one, they kind of like start and then they pull back, and they don't push it as far as they.
Well, they also rush it in this moment. Like,
well, I think they did it on purpose because after Toy Story 3, there's no way you can reach that momentum. Toy Story 3 was like the major tearjerker of any Pixar movie. I mean, unless you want to say like the first act of Up, that's a tearjerker.
Yeah, totally.
But Toy Story 3, the way that movie played out, having grown from Toy Story 1 and 2 and 3, there's no way that Toy Story 4 could have reached that. I think they were smart not to even try.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a good
Yep.
But Dan, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Go watch it in theaters in 3D if you can, and it's a very well done film. So on that note, we give it a dine in, watch it in theaters. So I think, William, you get a point, and you think, so that's 4 points so far.
You can have mine.
And then you have Z's, you have mine, and then you have Mike's.
So that makes
I'm giving you Mike's. That's 7.
7. All right.
So you're almost there.
I only need 3 more points.
There you go. But you also, did you get a point for last time you were here?
I don't remember.
Let's say yes. So that's probably 8. So you need 1 more visit, and you can probably score yourself the full 10.
Segment. So next time you're here, think about segment. Thank you so much, William, for being on the show. Go ahead and talk about everything you do, you work on, your comic book.
I'm a comic creator who I have a webcomic called Cinephilia that's all about me exploring my love of movies through comics. But that comic has now spun off into an actual talk show as well. So I host a weekly talk show on Twitch through Perception Studio, where it's also called Cinephilia, and we just talk about movies just like you guys do. So
we'll make sure to include the link in this episode. Also, talk about your webcomic Cinephilia, because you put yourself in the comics, right?
I am in the comics, so I interact with all of the movie characters.
If someone wants to read it, where can they go take a look?
Oh, you can check that out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/cinephilia. It's actually, all the comics are free to read, but if you want to become a patron, then you get to see pages early, and you'll get some bonus content and stuff like that. So
cool. Go support them.
I'll check that out.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Is there also where they can watch the Twitch episode for Cinephilia?
Oh yeah, twitch.tv/Perception Studio. Is where that comes on, and the Perception Studio does a bunch of stuff on their channel. They also do a weekly D&D show with puppets, Dungeons and Dragons. But playing it live with puppets, so they do a lot of cool stuff. But Cinephilia comes on. We were every Sunday. Now we're moving to Mondays. But
the same day as we.
Thankfully, we're not conflicting with you guys, because we're Mondays at 5:30. California time, and you guys are later.
Yeah, Mondays at 9 p.m.
So you can catch both
at the same day.
Mondays can be your new movie day.
Yes, after the movie comes out. So check it out. Make sure to follow him. Yeah. Is there an Instagram or Facebook page or anything you want to shout out? If not, it's okay.
Just at William O. Tyler is most social media. You can find me there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, William, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching us live.
Before we close it out, I did want to mention one more show.
Yeah. Yes, we are back with a brand new show, Movie Menu Interviews. It's starting with a brand new season. We have some amazing guests lined up, so make sure to check that out as well. New episodes are also every Saturday. So go to our website at moviemenupodcast.com, and you can go ahead and select the interviews, and you'll be able to listen to all the cool interviews that we have there. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to follow us also on social media, facebook.com/moviemenupodcast, also on Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel. Thank you, guys. Until next time, I say goodbye. Thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Until next time. Bye.
See you later.
2, 3, 4.
Why is he? I like a Z right now.